Okay, so picking up where we left off, again, I had you work through those 5 practice problems. If you had trouble with any of those, that's okay. This stuff will take a little bit of time to get used to because, like I say, it's probably not something that you've done before. So keep practicing with them, right? Look at other practice problems in here as well, and then bring any questions that you're having to class on Wednesday. Okay, now picking up from here, the rest of section 3.1 is going to be understanding how to use and how to interpret symbolic form. And this is really what we're going to start to see as we look at our truth tables. So when we have a statement written in words, it's long, right? And it's a lot to put in like a table format. So what we do is we change to a symbolic form. Okay, so the first thing we need to remember here is what those symbols look like. We saw them in our table. So we have a negation for not, right? It's the tilde. We have a symbol for and remember, but is the same thing. We have a symbol for or. We have a conditional, which is our if then. And we have our biconditional, which is our if and only if. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be taking statements and writing them as a symbol, and then we'll turn around and look at the reverse, all right, taking symbols and writing them in words. So your statements are going to be denoted using letters, all right, and so that's specified up front. All right, so we're going to use P to represent a panther has a long tail, and we're going to use Q to represent a bobcat can purr. All right, and we're just going to be writing these in symbolic form. So in our first example here, right, notice the first thing you're given is exactly what you see as statement P, right? A panther has a long tail. So you're just replacing it with P. And then over here is the exact statement for Q. So all you're really having to do here is identify the correct symbol for what's pulling these two things together and making a compound statement, right? That's an and here. And so symbolic form would look just like that. All right. Now, you do want to watch out for negations, right? And that's what we're seeing in the second example. So notice the first one here, a bobcat cannot purr. This is dealing with Q, right? But because it has the not in there, it means we're actually looking at a negation. Okay, so we're dealing with statement Q, but because it's a not, we put the tilde in front of the Q. All right, now the other side of this, right, the other statement, a panther does not have a long tail. This is dealing with statement P, but again, because it has the not in there, it is also a negation. So we're dealing with statement P, but because of the not, we put the tilde in front. And then what's joining these two statements together is an if and only if, which is denoted with a two-sided arrow. Okay? Our next statement starts out the same way. It says a bobcat cannot purr. So we know already that is the negation of Q. The second statement, a panther has a long tail, that's not a negation, right? That is statement P. And then remember, but is interpreted the same way as and. So the symbol that we would use here would be the conjunction. All right, and then rounding this out, if a panther does not have a long tail, okay, so that's dealing with statement P, but the not makes it a negation. The second part of this, a bobcat cannot purr, right, that's dealing with statement Q, but the not makes it a negation. And this is a conditional, all right? That means it is a one-directional, a one-sided arrow. And so our symbolic form would look like what you're seeing here. Okay, so you really just kind of, you have to read very carefully. You have to watch for those negations, and then just make sure that you're putting everything in terms of the correct symbol.